afternoon, everybody. There you go. Sounds a little lively. How was lunch? Good. Very nice. My name is Rudy Garcia-Tolson. I am a 4-time Paralympic swimmer. I actually have 2 gold, 1 silver, and 2 bronze. So, it's important to get that last one in there. And I am the first double above the knee amputee to finish an Ironman triathlon. So, let me in case you don't know what an Ironman is, you got a 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike, and a 26-mile run. And it took me 16 hours and 6 minutes. Very long day. For me, it didn't start with dreams of just going to do an Ironman. It started completely different. For me, when I was growing up, I was born with multiple birth defects. My biggest challenge was my legs. I could not stretch them out. I was confined to a chair. My hands were webbed. My 3 middle fingers were webbed together, which I kind of wish they would have kept them because it would have been great for swimming, But they separated those. Still, the biggest challenge was my legs. Now, I went through about 15 operations from when I was born till I was 5 years old. And my parents, they did not want to amputate my legs at birth like the doctors suggested. They wanted to try to save and fix my legs. I'm the youngest out of 4 siblings. And being the baby, so to speak, I was in the hospital almost my whole childhood. That was what I remember most about my childhood, was just being in the hospital, going through operation after operation, having stitches, bandages, family come in to visit me. Really, my whole childhood, I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to be a kid. I just wanted to go outside and not have to worry about potentially getting hit by a car because I'm so low to the ground when I ride my skateboard, when I take my legs off. I just wanted to be like my brothers and sisters. And it wasn't until I got to about when I was 7 years old. I had my legs amputated when I was 6. And, for me, I knew that was going to be the best choice. So I told my parents, let's cut my legs off. And they let me make that decision. Still the best decision I've made to this day. I got involved in swimming shortly after. I got involved in sports. Swimming for me was my way of finding myself. It was a way for me to find my confidence as a kid with a physical disability. Now, I will say, when I was swimming on an able-bodied swim team as a young kid, I was very, very nervous, very discouraged as being the only kid with a physical disability in the pool. So, naturally, all the kids, they would call me, that's the boy with no legs. And that was that was the title that they gave me from a young age. Now, if you can imagine, that didn't sit right with me. I didn't want to be the boy with no legs. I had something to prove, and that's exactly what I did. My parents, being how they are, they were very instrumental in me setting goals for myself. My first goal that I set in my life was to beat a kid with legs. Simple enough, right? We could try to do that. Sure. I just didn't want to go to a competition and come in dead last. And if anyone's ever been in a competition, you know that the last one across the line, it's a heavy burden. And for me, that was kind of the norm. And it takes a lot of strength to say, all right, I'm gonna get back in and I'm gonna do it again, and I'm gonna do it again. And it wasn't until I finally went to this competition after setting my goal, and I remember swimming into the wall. It was like 25 freestyle, and I touched the wall, and then the kid next to me touched the wall right after me. So I knew I accomplished my goal. And I feel a little bad for the kid because he had to go through therapy for getting beat with the boy with no legs, but he's doing well now. But for me, it was a moment where it was like all of a sudden it just clicked. And it was this spirit of competition. It was this feeling of proving others wrong that really drew me into the sport of swimming. And my next goal, I set the bar high. My next goal, and I have proof of this if anyone wants to question, when I was 8 years old, I told my parents that I want to go to the 2004 Paralympic Games. And 8 years later, I was able to make my dream become a reality. I've been to 4 Paralympic Games in total. I like to use the term I was living the dream. because really all I had to do was eat, sleep, and swim, which is not a bad gig. I did that for a number of years. Around the same time, I was involved with the Challenge Athletes Foundation, a foundation that is supported by LA84, I add. They support the high school adaptive sports program. Now, the Challenge Athletes Foundation, based in San Diego, they're a foundation that gets people who have physical challenges to the starting line. It's the same philosophy that I have. When you become injured, when you become disabled in some sort of way, the best way to get back into the game of life is through sport. And I believe sport should be a right for every kid. Every kid should have a right, regardless of their ability, to go play PE. To not have to do essays instead of PE. These are the type of things that I find to be the utmost important and something that I'm very passionate about, because I firsthand I can understand what these kids are going through and how sport can take them and really take them around the world like it's done for me. Now, see this young man right here? Ezra Freck. Now, it's really hard to believe when I see him like that. He's now 14 years old now, but I actually first met Ezra as a 6-month-old baby, and I got to hold Ezra when he was 6 months old. And he came to me from his father, Clayton, who now has the Angel City Games, which we just had the 5th anniversary, going to be the 6th year here. I encourage you all to go out and support, participate. But through Ezra, we use the term superhero a lot. For me, I think that Ezra is a true example of what a superhero is. And we've had the pleasure to really watch this young man grow up. He just recently got back from the Pan American Games when he won, I believe, 2 silver medals. Not too shabby for a 14-year-old kid. Yeah, give him a round of applause. But I solely believe when the LA 2028 Paralympic Games and Olympic Games come to this awesome city, it's going to be a pivotal moment in the Paralympic movement in the United States here. And I believe that kid right there is going to be the face of the Paralympic movement. It's going to be the face of Team USA. And I am very proud to say I had a little part in this little guy growing up, which is very, very rewarding. So I challenge all of you to think, how can we include more kids with physical disabilities in my program? How can we get those kids who might have always been told that they cannot do something because they're in a wheelchair or because they're missing a leg? Whatever the challenge may be, I look at you guys and think, how could you challenge your thinking? And how can you create more opportunities for kids like Ezra? Because still today, there are a number of kids in high school and just in elementary school who are being told that they can't. Well, with this group, everybody in this room, we need to say, yes, we can. Thank you very much, everybody.